everybody, today we're doing this very easy, beginner friendly buddy bee tutorial. So join me and let's get started. Alright, we'll start with the materials we're going to need for this tutorial. For this bear, I'm using 4 weight, 100% acrylic yarn. It's really nice and soft, easy to work with. Then you'll need a hook size corresponding to your yarn weight, although for Amigurumi I do advise a hook or 2 smaller than you usually would. For this yarn I'm using a 3.5mm. I'm using 3 colours of yarn for this bear: brown for the main body, beige for the muzzle, and then a nice bright colour for his little scarf. You'll also need some embroidery thread. I've got this black embroidery thread for the nose and the eyebrows and his little mouth. Scissors, of course, always handy. A large eye blunt tip needle for weaving in your ends and attaching a few loose pieces we've got for this bear. A stitch marker, invaluable when you're doing amigurumi to keep track of your rows. Safety eyes, I'm using these 5mm ones for this specific project. Toy stuffing, fiberful. Trust me, you will always need more than you think, so have a good amount on hand. First step, as always, most cases with amigurumi, you're going to do a magic ring and then 6 single crochets within that magic ring. Now I do have a tutorial that I've posted just before this video. If you want to go have a look, if you're not sure how to do the magic ring, it's quite simple once you've done it once or twice. Go and have a look at that tutorial. Just posted in the video before. I'll also link it in the description. Now once you've completed your 6 single crochets into the magic ring, you can pull your little tail end to close the ring, not too tight because otherwise you'll struggle getting your first stitch of your next row. It's always a little bit of a squeeze. You can always, once you've completed your second row, you can pull that little tail to close that gap up nice and tight. Next we're starting with our increases. For 2 single crochets in each stitch. That's basically what we do with the increase, just 2 stitches in the same stitch. Let's go. You can just continue doing your increases, 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around. I will meet you at the end of the row. At this point, give that tail a nice strong tug to close that hole up nicely. Next row, we continue with increases. At this time we do 3 single crochets and then we increase in the 4th stitch. So 1, increase, so 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And then you do that 2 more times. So 3 single crochets and then an increase, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. Next part of our leg is nice and relaxing part, just 4 rows, 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So I'll see you back here after our 4 rows have been completed. Once you've completed your first leg, you can fasten off and cut the yarn. No need for a long tail end. We're not going to use that leftover piece of yarn for anything. We're just going to tuck it into the leg to hide it. And then you go ahead and do a second leg exactly the same way, but do not cut the yarn at the end of your second leg, because then we'll start attaching the legs and continuing with the bee's little body. So once you've completed your 4 rows of the second leg, we're now going to get into the stage where we will attach the legs to form the start of the body. So this round, you're going to do 1 more single crochet in each stitch around. So once you get to your last stitch of your second leg, you remove your stitch marker, complete that final single crochet, and then you will do a chain of 3. The chain is very easy. You just yarn over, and then you pull your yarn through the loop on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over, pull through the loop. Have a little chain of 3 stitches. Then you take your first leg, going into the very last stitch you made of the last row on that leg. You will attach the legs by doing 1 single crochet. And it's as easy as that. Your legs are now attached. Then continue with that row and do 14 more single crochets in each stitch around until you get to just before where the back of the chain starts.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be.
Once you've completed your 14 single crochets, you will reach the chain again. And all we're going to do is continue with 1 single crochet in each chain space. So just find the space, your first chain, do a single crochet, then the chain space right next to it, do a single crochet, and then we're going to do the 3rd single crochet in our last chain space. And that is it. We have reached the end of our row, and you insert your stitch marker to that very last stitch you did in that chain. Row 9, very easy again, 1 single crochet in each stitch around.
Meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Once you've come around your leg, you'll see you at the back of the 3 chains. So all you do, as with the previous round, 1 single crochet in the back of each of the 3 chains. And then you just continue around your other leg, 15 single crochets, and I will meet you back at the end of the row. So just to make sure, at the end of round 9, which is this round, you should have 36 stitches all around. You can check, sometimes you might end up with 1 less, 1 more, but we can correct it with an increase or a decrease, depending if you've got more or less stitches, so do not worry about it. Next round, we start increasing, just to give a little bulk to the body. This round we do 5 single crochets and then an increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochets, then we increase in the very next stitch, so 2 single crochets in the next stitch. Continue this all the way until you get your stitch marker. Round 11 we increase again, this time 6 single crochets, increase in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we increase in the very next stitch, and that you will continue 5 more times all the way around. And a bit of relaxing ahead as we do 2 rows of 1 single crochet in each stitch. Next we're doing something different. We're starting our first row of decreases. So we're going to do 6 single crochets and then a decrease, which is just working 2 stitches together. So 6 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then for the decrease, the next stitch, you just take the front loop and the stitch next to that, also just the front loop, yarn over, complete the normal single crochet, and that's it, nothing to it. You do that 5 more times all the way around till we reach the end of your row. We're on round 15 and we do 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Next row we decrease again, 5 stitches this time and 1 decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, then decrease, next stitch, front loop, and you complete your single crochet. I'll see you at the end of the round. begin at the row with 1 single crochet in each stitch. Row 18, another decrease round, decrease after 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets, and we do a decrease. Again, we'll do this 5 more times until the end of the row. Row 19, nice and relaxing again. Single crochet in each stitch around. Row 20 will be our last row of decreases for the body. So we're doing 3 single crochets and 1 decrease all the way around. 1, 2, and 3 single crochets, and then a decrease, and we repeat this 5 more times until the end of the row. Row 21 will be 1 single crochet in each stitch around, which sort of ends our body, as after this we will continue the head. And we start our head by increases, 3 single crochet, and then increase in the next stitch all the way around. 1, 2, 3 single crochets, increase in the very next stitch, 2 stitches in the same stitch. You repeat this 5 more times all around. For row 23 we do 4 single crochets and then increase into the next stitch all the way around. Increase again in row 24, 5 single crochets, increase in your next stitch. We add our last row of increases for the head, 6 single crochets, followed by an increase all the way around until the end of your row. And again we've got a nice relaxing stretch of crocheting ahead, 6 rows, 1 single crochet in each stitch around. And with the last few rows of decreases before we finish our bear's head. This row, 6 single crochets, then decrease in the next 2 stitches. After that, we repeat that 5 more times up to the end of your row. row 33, we've got 5 single crochets and then a decrease all the way around until you finish your row. And our last row of decreases, round 34, 4 single crochets and then a decrease all the way around. For row 35, we only single crochet in the next 28 stitches, meaning that we'll leave the last 2 stitches unworked. Now before we continue with stuffing our bear, we have to insert the safety eyes. They are placed between row 30 and 31, centered in the little bear's face, 2 stitches between them. You can either count from the bottom, or if you prefer, it's 4 rows from the top of the head. Now you can continue stuffing your little bear from where you left off at the legs, and I always stuff my little toys very tightly. Fiberful toy stuffing tends to relax after a bit, so if you didn't stuff enough from the beginning, your toy will end up looking a little sad and saggy, and we don't want that. So just when you stuff your bear, leave a little bit of room at the top of the head, otherwise you're really going to struggle closing it up. We'll stuff the head just before we end up closing the head completely. We'll close the head by working a single crochet through both sides of the head as you press it together. So with the eyes of the bear facing forward, press the sides together and then work one single crochet through both sides of the head to close it up. So before you close your head completely, about 4 or 5 stitches from the end, you've got a little gap where your finger can still fit through, or a pen. This is where we're now going to complete stuffing the bear's head. So make sure to get stuffing into those corners. I promise you quite a bit of stuffing will be still able to get in there. So once you've closed the head completely, this is where we'll start with the ears of the bear. So just flipping your bear around, that the eyes are facing you without chaining. You're going to work 5 double crochets into the second stitch. So you skip 1 stitch, into the second stitch, 5 double crochets. So this is 1. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Once you completed the 5th double crochet, you're going to skip 1 stitch and then slip stitch into the next stitch. After that slip stitch, you do 6 more slip stitches, 1 slip stitch in each of the next 6 stitches. Once you've completed your 7 slip stitches, you're going to skip 1 stitch again. The stitch after that, another 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then you skip 1 stitch again and then slip stitch into the very last stitch of the head. Now you can cut your yarn and weave in the end at the back of the head. Starting on our muzzle, we take our white or cream yarn. We're going to make a magic ring and then single crochet 6 stitches into the magic ring. For the second round, we increase all the way around, so that will be 6 increases, in other words 2 single crochets in each of our 6 stitches. The final row of our muzzle will be 1 single crochet followed by an increase in the next stitch, and we do this 6 times. So 1 single crochet and then an increase, and then another single crochet and then an increase, and you do this all the way to the end. Once you completed your final row, you can end with a slip stitch, then cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail Just sew the muzzle onto the bee.
We are now going to work our muzzle onto the head of the bee, one row below the eyes. Now you can of course pin your muzzle in place. It's easier to stop it from moving. I just sort of hold it firmly and continue working all around on a small project like this. I'll try and explain to you how I do it. The easiest way is I find 2 stitches directly below the muzzle. So the head of the bee, I find 2 stitches and work my needle through it. And I come up with my needle into the stitch of the muzzle right above where I've just worked. So I'll explain it again. So right below the muzzle, you find 2 stitches. You'll put your needle through. You pull your yarn up. And then in the stitch of the muzzle right above where you've just worked, you put your needle through. You continue doing this all the way around. So find 2 stitches right below the muzzle at the edge where you're working it. Put your needle through 2 stitches. Bring your yarn up. And then you work it through the stitch of the muzzle right above where you've just worked.
Once I've fastened my muzzle completely and put it through that last stitch, I sort of just take my needle, put it into the bee's head, come out anywhere on the side of the muzzle, very close to the edge. I do a little knot, and then I hide the tail inside the head of the bee. So I just go into the side, make a little knot just to secure your yarn as your muzzle do not come undone, and then I hide the tail into the head. To embroider the face of the little bee, I don't have any special techniques, but you can follow along as I work the face on this tutorial. It comes out slightly different each time, but that just gives each of your bees a little bit of different character. So I normally enter from the side, just next to the muzzle. I like to work my nose of the bee between the second and third rows. You can of course do it slightly lower if you prefer. It's just a personal choice. And I work a few stitches, about 3 or 4 times, back and forth. Then I do the eyebrows after that, and then a little mouth. But follow along. Of course, you're more than welcome to add your own little character and personality to your bee.
onto the final pieces of the bear, which is the arms. You make 2 of these. You start off with the magic ring, crocheting 6 single crochets into that magic ring. The second row of our little arm just increases in all 6 stitches. So 2 single crochets each stitch all the way around. Row 3 and 4 will be 2 relaxing rounds with 1 single crochet in each stitch. So for 2 rounds, 1 single crochet in each stitch. Round 5, row 5, there's 2 single crochets followed by a decrease. So you do all the way around 2 single crochets followed by a decrease. And you'll do this 3 times. The last bit of our arm will be easy, 4 rows of 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Once you've stuffed the bottom half of your arm, we're going to close the top by pressing the 2 sides of the arm together and then working 4 single crochets through both sides of the arm. 4 stitches of single crochets all the way to the end. You can then fasten off, cut your yarn, leaving a tail to work the arm onto the body. Once you've completed both your arms, we will sew the arms to the body of the bear at around row 20, between row 20 and 21, which is sort of the neck area, just below the neck area of the little bear. Very last step of our bear is making his little scarf, just giving him a little pop of color. We start off very simply with a slip knot, and then we chain 81. So a chain, very easy, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and you make 81 chains. Once you've made your 81 chains, you're going to start in the second chain from the hook, and we're going to make a half double crochet. So half double crochet, very easy. You yarn over, put your hook into your stitch, pull through, yarn over, and then you pull that yarn through all three the loops on your hook. So yarn over, into your stitch, pull through, yarn over again, and pull your yarn through all three loops. You do the half double crochet all the way until the end of your chain, giving you a total of 80 half double crochets for your little scarf. Once you reach the end of your row, you can cut your yarn, fasten off, and weave in those 2 tail ends into the scarf. And that's it. The scarf is done. Last step, adding our scarf to our little buddy bear. And there you have it, all done. That wasn't too bad. Thank you for joining me, making this cute little teddy bear. I hope you enjoyed making him, and I hope you enjoy making many more of him. I will see you back soon with another tutorial.